Welcome back, everyone. We are thrilled to have you joined us today once again for another exciting session on 4-day MERN Stack workshop. Whether you are returning for more inspiration or knowledge, we are delighted to have you as part of our community. I don't think that introduction is required because we had a wonderful session yesterday. So, without wasting time, let's get started because today we will not only learn React.js but we will also do projects along with it. Okay, so before starting the session, I would like to request you guys to use your laptops or desktop and do simultaneously with our instructor. So, I would like our speaker, Mr. Krishna Naik, to resume the session with React.js. Krishna, please go ahead.
Thank you, Minister. So, hello everyone. Good evening to all. So, I'm Krishna, instructor for you all for building the front end developer. So, let's begin our journey. So, at previous we have been discussed about the React.js and have about some of the about components idea. So before I start about the React scope and all of this, let's have a Q&A session for the basics idea about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you have any query about that, you can write it down on the chat box.
Guys, we had session yesterday, so whatever you have revised yesterday, I would like you guys to have put your questions in the chat box so that before starting with React.js, we would able to clear your doubts on basic HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. Put your questions in the chat box so that we can move ahead from the basics and we'll go to the practicals.
Yeah, good morning, good evening to all. So, so the difference between the async and await. No? So the as you think the async and await they have no difference. Basically, asynchronous code are those code which is used by the you have given a task something for which it takes some time for rendering for next task. That's why we use an asynchronous code where we use async as a function and await as a call for the data. For example, I can show you the example over here. Okay, let's suppose what I mean to say that it's from login page. Let's have method. Let's call an some API like we have and we got a region JSON dot log. Okay. So this API is from the so basically this API is from the dictionary API. We will build a project on dictionary. So I have a login page. I have created a login page where h1 tag. Let's suppose like login no that document dot in this. So after inspection, since my JavaScript run has JavaScript code has been run, in this I have put the asynchronous code of function where I have put at await. Await refers to it will pause below instruction or it will simultaneously work with the below instruction and bring back that data. Suppose the fetching the data requires a time. Suppose it take around 1 second or 2 seconds. Suppose it's required a time. And if I suppose I don't put an await, what is caused that a.json is not a function. That means a data is not been provided yet. Okay, let me log over there. Log. Oh, sorry. Console dot console.log. If you see here, we are getting a promise. Okay, so basically A is getting a promise where we should write an await, which will call, which will wait for this until it's completed its task. Complete whenever it's completed task, it will return to A. Until then, no, none of this code will run. Then what will be does that it's run a code of a JSON which is fetch data method, which we request get here. We will get a response of await a.json where we will got a response of result. Let's see if we got a response or not. Wait a minute. Let me refresh. And here we get an response. Here we see a data what we wanted. So basically it's a API where we whatever we write here, its meaning will come over here. Suppose it's, here I have searched about the hello. The meaning of hello is here. It's a noun or it's a verb or it's an adjective. Hope so you got the idea about async or await. Async and await are both used simultaneously. They are not different. Hello. So did you get the idea about? Okay. So by mean of React.js and Vue.js, uh, if you tell now React.js and Vue.js, so early in 2020 I have used the Vue.js, but here the React.js uses the functional method, as I told in previous session that it's used the component based method, whereas the Vue.js uses the HTML tag like structure where it's used the HTML as well as the styling and these and the function are in different map. So that much I can say. I have not used the Vue as much as, so sorry for that. And other question? Any other question from JavaScript, HTML, and CSS or DOM related? First of all, I'm audible to you all. No? Just write it yes if I'm audible to you. Okay, okay, okay. We got a lot of this. For better convenience, the lets and where can be used const. If you say for better convenience, so let me see you what's the problem with the let and const for what. So basically, whenever you insert a const, suppose name, hello, and for let in this let name, like Christian. Okay, so the main features of the const is that the name cannot be updated again. Yes, I will try to update it, but if not, it will cause an error. You can see. Mm, so- Okay, so here you can see the assignment to const variable is not possible, whereas in let we can update it. Let me- wait, let's let name. So here you can see the data over this data. Hello is getting updated. Okay, so for let and const this much is, and for var as in the previous session, suppose there is one problem which caused by the var is the position. Suppose a call method is called and we set console.log console.log add and var var x equal to sorry, x equal to 10. Call this function. So you can see here we are getting an undefined, whereas I have never declared it in the above side, not declared x. I think still I'm getting an undefined, whereas if same function I will run over here for let get let and if I run let and get let. So see here we come across with the error which lead to which is not is being part of. If I have written like let x semicolon uncomment and saved it. See here I am getting an undefined. The let part of x is getting under, but here we are getting an x. One more part if you see if it's true. Suppose if another block is there where x is equal to you can see here we are getting a output of 20. You get the idea. See here is the block code. We are putting a variable, we're declaring at it as 10 over here. Here is the block code which use a var as x and storing there a 20. in the X variable, still we are getting a output of console log as 20. But in case of, let we do this similar thing in the let let out. Let's function. Okay. Now you can see here we have declared as 10. Inside the block, its value is 20, and outside the block, it's back to the 10. This is one of the main problem with the lets and the var. And by the const, I mean it's never be updated yet, whereas let can be update its data. Hopefully you understand what's the difference between let, const, and var. Okay, so start with the project. So before we start, what we are going to do is about, so you have the understanding of the functional component and the class component. Like functional component is the component where the function is been wrapped with the props. Either we can put a props or not, and we will return the HTML code. And this HTML code will be displayed over the browser. Whereas in the class component, we need to extend it in the React component at at what the render function which has the return of HTML code will be rendered. Both work the same. You can tell you can't tell the difference. Both have same similarity, some advantage, some disadvantages, but both work. So moving on, we have the previous one was the stateless component because there are no state. Whereas in this component we are using a state. You can see we are using a variable and putting here the output will be the hello Krishna. Whereas in the stateless we are not putting any of these states. In this, the taking of state in both are different totally. You can see here we are taking constructor state as a name and putting this dot state name. Hope so you got the idea. So what's the advantage and disadvantage? So basically advantage is that the advantage of the functional code is that it is use less code. You can see over same task, we are doing the same task, but it's take a light and it's a minimum effort and it's quite easy to understand also. But in the class component, it's kind of like a complex code. Like we need to do a constructor, super props, then we need to give the object of this state of name and blah blah. Then we need to render function. There are other functions too. Like for calling the function, we need to bind the functions also. There are a lot of stuff in these class component, whereas in functional component it's simplified because of the React source. So let's discuss about the React source. So what we'll do is that we'll start building some project. What we'll do that we will do building projects. Simultaneously, I will tell you about the hooks as well as it's, it might take a lot of time. So what we are making is that a adds age calculator, which is the UI is like this. Hope so. This is audio visible to all. Yeah. So what we will do is that we will putting out date, month, and year, and it will calculate how much years you are. Okay, or it will it will have a validations of date, month. Should it valid date, valid month, and valid year. So you all got the idea what we are going to build. It's a simple building web application. Okay, so anyone have a doubt regarding the function or projects or some this project? So let's start with building the project. So we will start building project with using Vite. So from Vite, we are going to copy out this template, npm create Vite, and we will paste on this on the terminal. What it does that it will ask for the project name. Let's suppose we put age calculator. Okay, we will simultaneously tell us the hook and the project so that it doesn't take so much of time. So next we will do a framework. We are choosing the framework of React using JavaScript, and voila, it's present. Now what we have to do is cd. Here you can the instruction. What we need to do cd age calculator, and now in my Discord code. Okay, here we present. Hope so it's visible to all of you. If so, if visible, right? It's visible. It's visible. Is it visible to all? Okay. Increase little more. Okay. So let me remove all this templates code. Already given. Let me remove this. Let me have a deep dive. Boy. Let me remove all of this. Let remove all the CSS too, so that you can understand from the basics. Okay. Okay. Let's. So we build the project. Now what we are going to do is npm run dev. How I know that npm run dev is that from packages. In there you can see a script, written a script of dev. In some there are written and start and some in written dev. So I'm writing a dev. So let's start the project. Okay. Before that we need to install the npm, which is node module. It takes some time. Okay, now the node module has been installed. What we will do is that npm run dev. It will automatically run the code, and yeah, yeah. Hmm. So as you see here, we are written a simple HTML code. React code basically. So what we will do now is that let's let's get some idea about the use state. Suppose I want to add a state over here. Let name is equal to Krishna. I have it. Okay, so let's have a count of 0. And by the way, we are printing the count. Count is a variable, not a string. So if I write the count, it will shows the count, not the value of the count. So what we will do is that we will wrap this up in the count function. So curly braces, when we wrap this variable with the curly braces, it shows the value. Suppose on button on click, on click is a handle. Wait a minute, okay. Let's have click, and we are using an handle click. We will use an arrow function for this. Here we are routing count plus plus. Suppose we are writing count plus plus. Okay. If you are not understanding what it's code means, that me comment cut this out and let me take as const handle click is equal to, and now paste it. Okay. And over here I'll put handle click. Hope so you get the understanding. Okay. So hope all of you understand what's going on. Let me try of clicking. Does will increase or not? Just tell me what. On clicking this button, will it increase or not? Or cause an error or what? On clicking this button, does this value will change or not? You can see the code. We are using a let variable const as a function variable as handle click. We are using button and handle click from where we okay, value will increase. Let's see it. On clicking, you can see I'm clicking the button, but still the value is not increasing. Let me check in spec mode. Yes, let me check. See, nothing happened. Let me check whether here the count value is updating or not. Okay, let me click. See, count 1, count 2, count 3. The count is updating, but still we are not getting a count over here in HTML code. The reason is that this is a block code which handles that if we clicks over a button, it will use only for this function. It does not return, it does not call back the full function, so that it does not return whatever the data is being updated. In this case, where the React use state hooks comes. So let me commit out this. Uh, this to So what is that? It's have a little bit different kind of. Let me have to count. Set count equal to use state. Okay, and use state. We need to import the use state here, and we can set the initial value at 0. Let we set the initial value at 0. Okay, let's say here you can see we are getting the value of 0. This means the actual value, and this is for the setting up. This is a callback function, a function which used for updating the value. Now what we are going to do is that on clicking on this, I want that set count plus 1. Let me see, does this change? See, so how does it working? So what does this happen is that whenever a use state update method will work, this whole function will start to rerun, which is known as re-rendering. Whenever the state gets updated, the whole function get update. So its updated value is 1, and thus it's written the HTML code once again with the updated value. That's why it's giving a updated value. See, 13, 14, 15. Let me refresh it one more. It will come back to 0 when I refresh the code, because it started with 0. So what the difference between the set count and the count? So basically set count used for the updation, whereas the count is used for the display or the variable, what value is contained. I'm not using a set count as an displaying or calculating with the count, whereas I'm using a count to show or display, or I can update like 1 plus 2, count plus 2, count plus 2, count plus 1, and let have plus count plus 1. Let me add. Okay, 0 plus 1, 1. Let me click once again. Oh, sorry, I have clicked. So 2 plus 1, 3. As the count is 2, here 2 plus 1, it goes 3. I press once more. 3 plus 1, 4 plus 2. Got the idea about the use state? Basically, we can't do it with the late data. Still, there are someone who may call it the count plus plus. Can be done. Yes or no? Instead of this set count. So what does it do? It's never updated because the count is in the const. Got it? Let me do. It will cause an error. You can see. Even though if it is late, suppose if we are doing it late, um, log the count, we will get the output at 7, 8, 9, 10, but we will not update the value because let value is going to this value is going to update, not the callback function and not this all function is re-rendering. Hence recall. That's why we don't use this. We used const and const and what is set. Hope so you got the idea. Okay, from this, let's start building the our application. This is our application will looks like. So let's start building. Let me create a component. Here I will go in src file, create a component, and here I will create an age cal.jsx. Okay, and we will writing an okay. So what we are doing is that we are using the age, and now let's call this function over this like age calc. How do we call this? So at app.js, we will write over here. Let me separate this from the other content. Okay. Or let me write means, and I will add age calc. Okay. I have added the age calc and self closing tag, and see in the above we have imported where the path is about from the components and the age calc. Okay, now I have saved the date. I have saved the file. We are getting the age calc. For now, we are remove. Let's remove this. Okay, age calc. We are getting age calc. Now let's do for div. Let's name it as a class container. Okay, so our projects look like we have a small div which have a box having falling with the input box with a small button and the digit. So we'll start by the outer layer first, a box. Let in the container, I will create a box class. Okay, over there we will going to have a three input. Okay, so okay, here we are going to have an zero input with one button and the display and one display page. Okay, let's add the UI. Okay, let me comment this out also. So at app.js, I'm creating app at index.js. I'm creating a process like padding zero, padding zero, margin zero, and one box size at border. Okay, we have created the we have we have the container class. So container class, we will use the background. Oh, sorry. background color, and there is one box. Okay, so let me add a border, 1 pixel, black. So it's one dimensional number. We will add a height. At the height of 400 pixels, and you can see over here. Okay, should be 200 pixels. And width of 200 pixels. In content, we are giving you 100 height. Okay, looks border radius. Oh, sorry. So what it look like? Box and the background color. So now we need to move it into center. So what we'll do is that we will add the margin 0. We have added it into the center. Now let's begin with the input field. What we'll do is that let's add a padding on the content. Okay. So we will input. We are going to have input tag and text, and here text. I'm giving a placeholder of, let's suppose, DVD as given over here, DDMMYO. So this, okay. So MMY. So we go with this. That gave us the class name box. What we need to do. A padding of 40 pixels. Oh, sorry, 40 pixels. 10 pixels is good. Little bit of margin between the top bottom should be 0. Let's suppose it's 10 pixel top bottom. and left right pixel. Look like this. Okay, it's fine for now. We'll change the data format and so how do we update this data one? So what we will do is that we will use the React hook useState const like uh, okay, format, okay, and write it over here set date and use state. Okay. Similarly, we can do with the months, year, and initially we are putting it to 0 and 0. Let's on the input box, we will place an event handler that is on change, and we'll call back a function of this of date having an e dot target dot value. Okay. Similarly, we will do with for the both month tag as well as for the year. And here we will put a month, and here we put the years. Now for checking the value that we are getting the output, we'll write month and year. Let's initially these all are zeros. Let me add over here like 12. See, simultaneously it's getting updated over here 34 2 1 2 3. Okay, so we are getting the update of the value. Now what we're going to do is that let's do it little bit refactor of this code. For refactoring, let's const and change. This code looks like a little bit of mess, so I'm trying to do to clear up. Okay, so now const, let me update this as a date, as an object data of day. Suppose I'm taking day, initially 0, month, initially at 0, and year. Okay, let me remove this. And by mean of doing this is set date. I can use the data from here. What is the it does the previous data? Let's take the previous data, and this is the spread function, and e dot target dot name. I will explain you later on. Wait, e dot. By using this, we are able to now update by see this single method. By this single method, we are now can update this whole data of this object. Like if I updated 12, 12 for the months 0, 4, 2, 2, 3, whatever. So the purpose of the handle change was that we are using the object data. Okay. So basically what I'm doing is that I am putting the everyone's input field a name, which is a day, month, and a year. And over there on change, wherever I will change on this input tab, whatever event I will do, it will show. Okay. So what does on change does is that inspect what it does is that um, log e dot target dot name and e dot target dot values. Okay. What does this handle change does? If I enter in placeholder of dd, if I request for change 4, see days has been 4, means e dot target name, which is the name is day, that's why it's coming a day, and e dot target value, what's the value of this input? Value is 4. If I put 0, it will 0, 40. And handle change is a function. So over here, as you can see, if I in mm, whatever going to have is that 40. So in the month section, month, because in the month I have placed the name as the month and on change, handle change. Same goes from the year. See year as its name as year. Suppose I have put the S over years and saved. Now you see here we have gotten the year. Now if I change any request, we got in the years. The names matter. Okay. So name is equal to years. Then we clean the box. Okay. For now, let's understand what's going on over here. Okay. For set data, we are calling a callback function. So let me remove it. As usual, you can see it's a set date which used for the updation. What we are doing is that we are placing a previous data as a callback. This is a function. Let me separate. Let me see what const fun equal to paste function, and let me paste the function. Okay, this is the function. It does that. It's a callback function basically. Means after running this function will be goes to run. It's the previous data. Previous data. Now in curly bracket, going to return an object of spreading a previous and updating data from e dot target dot name and e dot target dot value. Okay, what I'm doing is suppose if I have entered this totally, I have not put the previous data and saved it. It will cause an error because here, see my days and the year data has been erased because I have no previous data. We are using previous data for this. Now if I add something else, 30, okay, you got the idea. Hmm. So for reduction, I'm using the call here function, giving an arrow function and just this is the same task I'm doing over here. Okay, I've saved the details. Now let's begin with the our update date calculation. For before that, let me make one more step const result and set result equal to use state of this one. Okay, and let me paste it over here. Uh, so result dot date days. Okay, so we created a form which does this. Before that, let me remove this tag as a form because we are using a form data. We are inputting data and this will be act as a form. From here, we on submit. For now, I'm simply and there so end of the form there will be a button which type will be submit and submit. Okay, this is the button. On submit, let mix one more function const and submit, and let me paste it over here. We will do e.preview. Okay, now we will start building our logical part. So let's begin with the year. What we will do is that we will input the date, 12, 14, and 400 suppose, and I press the submit button. With log submit. If I press the submit button, it will automatically will log a submit. See, means after some as I click the submit, it will call this function and run this function. Hope so you got in the idea, getting the idea. So let's create a age method like const. Like suppose he's entering the birthday, so we are writing a birth that object suppose and new date as year month. You can see over here, this is a date function of JavaScript. We enter the month, years here, month index. So basically it starts from the 0 to 11. Here it is written 11, 0 to 11 from January to December. So whatever we will write according to that. 0 means suppose I have written 0 1, then it should be, if I written here 1, it should be a 0 index. That's why I'm deducting -1. And day, uh, okay, so basically here we will date dot, because date we are using a date state, date, date dot and date dot month and date dot date. So let's see what is print. Okay, let me clean this screen. And suppose if I press this submit, we have 12, 23, 400. So it's coming at 12 November at something. Let me erase to switch to, so that I was. So basically it's taking the month totally. Okay. Wait a minute. Suppose I'm writing 1 and 2000. It shows say 2001 and 11. It's suppose from year, month, and date. I've deducted one, the index. January 12, 2000. Since it's 1, January 12. Okay. So now what we'll do is that we will deduct this for the current date. current date equal to new date. Okay. Now what we're doing, that we will let year is equal to current full year. I deduct this with the birthday full year and let same with the month. Birth same with the days. Okay. Now let's save this data on set result date month. Sorry, month. Let's month, day, year, and month. Okay. Commented over here. We can see in the result we have day, month, and year. Okay. Segment days, month, year. Hope that the code is visible. Right? Okay. So see over here. What is going on here that we are subtracting this. Suppose the birth date is in 12 1 2000. Okay. So how much is its age? It's 24 years, 3 months, and 12. But suppose there will be a 31st of Jan. If I submit, see, it's come a negative data. So we need to validate this data. So what we can do is that if date if date is less than 0, we deduct the month. What will do? We will add the previous month last. Over here we will add those dates, date plus. Oh, okay, from zero date, there zero means last one. Let's come to it. So what this does that if the next negative, if this value is negative, the zero is does that it's previous month. Suppose it's a index of, suppose months of January. If I put a zero, that means it's previous month, which is December. December last month date will be provided to here, and we will add those for the increment of the day. As it's negative, it's showing negative, but still there are some error. Let me solve out this. Let's suppose the month will be for 20 months. Okay, now the 12, 2023. Yeah, so the next month, 3, it's 1 day, 12th day, and 30. Okay, count all this. Like we are in 31st April, and by this 31st April, we are from today, the 12th day has been gone in 2023. Suppose 2024, it should be 12th day. But for the month, suppose it should be 06 2023, and it's also coming a negative. We need to sort out this also. So what we will do is that if months will be at the zero, suppose we will at zero, we will add year. Mm, sorry, year. We are going to reverse it back. Month minus. Mm, let's calculate it. If it is zero, then math. ABS is the absolute function. And that we will get the month of 19. Still, let me tell. So by this mean we can solve this error. Suppose it's have a birthday on today only. What will the say 12 for 2023? It's 1 year. Okay. Or okay. 11 for 1 day. Okay. Let's suppose add a 31st of third. 31st of third. Okay, it's showing a 12th of there. Fine. Hmm. So we have created this. Now, now let's set the UI part. Let me remove the extra. Where's the design? Okay. It's look like this, and we need to do okay. Interview level here using D or D for this D. For this we are using month, months and year. Okay, we created that. Now let's make the validation. So first of all, for validation, we need to know about which date and years is getting off. So what we will do is that we create a birth date. Const. Let's make a function of validation. What we having a current date. Mhm. So what we do is that we create an if statement here. Date dot year must be greater than current date year. Okay, this will be a valid. Oh, sorry, but I'm doing this. Valid is equal to true, but this is false. So it's done. Okay. For month also, what we'll do is that month must be greater than 1, and for the date, same a date will be our. So let me create one const of date, which handling all like 31, 28, 31, 30, 31. and this date get date last month. And what we're going to do is if day is greater than get dot last month index of date month minus one. Okay, okay. If it will be greater, it will invalid. If this occur, valid is equal to. If it's not equal to valid, then we will return set data as date 0, day as 0, year as 0, and month as 0. Okay, let's check out the month, okay, date of month. If it is invalid, then it will show an alt. Okay, it's for current date will be the okay, so it might be a bit. Okay, by the way, one more thing. We have kept this data. Let me keep it as a string. And what we will do is that this month. If it's empty and it's invalid, if the day dot date is it's also invalid, so it's coming an invalid because it's empty. Let's suppose we input 31/02 2023. It's coming invalid because of the second month we can't. Suppose we are adding 29, it's also invalid. 29. Okay, now it's showing us what the output should look like. Let's make one another state, const as error, set error, useEffect, else state, and doing what in that. paste this. Okay. So whenever there will be an error occur, let me add comments valid data set version, and from this valid data update it. So invalid here goes for the month and the day. The day, the month. Mm, okay. Now what's going over here is that if there will be an invalid data, then this data will be updated automatically. And at the end, I will update in set error a valid data. I'm inserting all these data. If there will be an update, sorry, let let okay. So what I'm doing is that if there is no error, it will never, if the all day, month and year will all empty, will be all empty. So now if I went to the input box, I will use a style and let me write error dot day. If it is empty, then no need to do something. And if it is not empty, if it is not empty, then the color should change to red. Oh, wait a minute, crashed. Oh, over here. It's a ternary operator, by the way. If error, let me add. Suppose if I submitted invalid day, wait a minute, remove this say days, no, day. Oh, border, sorry, border 1 pixel red solid. Okay, see if there is, if I refresh it, it's nothing else. If there is no input or even invalid input, um, 2023, it's showing the error. So similarly, I will do with the with all the tags with month and with the year. Okay, so if suppose it's one, the border colors would come back to its normal. 1 pixel solid and black. Okay, so that's the reason. We need to use valid data. See, it's coming an invalid month. Let me see, watch out. We haven't. Okay, it must be greater than code line. It should be less than. No, it is negative and not equal to. Sorry. Let's begin with 0. See, this box has been called out. If I space 32, it's an invalid. So for month 01, when at 31st it will work. Okay, it's working. For year we can. So based on the year, the output will become. Hope so. This is all you understand. It's bit the calculative part and the validations too. Okay. Yes. Okay, let me set all these to time to validation. So at index CSS, what we will do is that let me cover it with the date. Similarly with this thing. Um, again with the year date. Okay, now this I have done. Let me call this as a class of. As here we relate a class name. Okay. Mm, like input contain. Let me copy it to all. Okay, in CSS, let me write. Now we use display flex. Flex direct. Flex direct. Flex direction column. Let's input padding. Square. Justify. content. Okay, so now I have done this input content. Now let's create a class on on display flex. Okay, let me have text align centered. Okay, here it is. Input was put my okay, 60 for let's have a border radius of 5 pixels. Okay, we completed from here. Now we'll do the horizontal line. Let me add a little bit change of 10 pixel. Okay, for then I will use h1 tag and rest of the h2 not h1 tag. Only h1. Okay, class display. Another display padding of 10. Okay, okay. So this is how it looks like. Nearly close enough. So suppose I'm writing 31. Let me write 31 02 2024. Okay, go to W2 3 20 like 24 and we calculate for 1 year. Okay, so that's not support. Okay, here we are getting -1. Okay. Hmm. 4 months, which is this is month, which will mean that it will reduce 1 year. Okay, okay. That means if month is in the negative, okay. So days is also getting a negative. It's equal to 0. Hmm. So what I am doing is that if the month is Days is less than 1, as well as the month is coming at minus 0. It must be reduced by 1 year. So for 30th of fourth month is 2024. 0 year 11. Okay, the year is getting. Okay. Oh, this is an invalid year because 31st has never come. So why is it's not here? Or equal to. No, or equal to. Hmm. Right over here we got over here, but one is okay. Date dot month dot current date does not get over from the- okay. By data point 04 is greater. That's why it's not. By the way, this is all the about the logic part we have done. This we have not built up the as close at this point as we are running out of the time. I wanted to complete the React hooks also. So let's begin with the React hooks. Or is that okay? As I shown you that this logic part that hand how do we are inputting? We are using useState. How we are using use. Basically, in the React JS, we are mostly using a useState. Now we will go through about the useState of different types of useState. Let me create one another useState for you. Hmm. Let's talk about the useState of yeah, about useEffect. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So for now, I'm removing from here. I'm commenting out this age so that it's clear. And let's move on with the about useEffect as I imported. Okay. So for useEffect, actually useEffect is like a huge React lifecycle. What it does that create a huge syntax of the useEffect. This is the syntax of the useEffect, which is with import. We imported like that. So it's a callback function, and let's make print over here console.log as about it. And in the console page, okay. As you see here, we are getting a about use effect. We are getting this 2 times because of this use strict method. If we, if we will comment it out, we will get it about only 1 time. We get it. This is used for checking for bugs and the error. So let us begin comment for better understanding. So about useEffect, now so what is does that useEffect does is it's about a mounting of life cycle. So what's happened is that whenever this function is called, this React function, React component function, what it does that when the render has been done, when the render has been done, then after those we will then this function will be run. What I mean to say is whenever this function will run after the rendering, it will print this, print this or run this application, run this effect. For example, we are using, suppose we use a use effect data and set data using use effect. Sorry, use state, um, use state array. Okay. Now, what suppose I will count and set count and substitute. And here we have count and a button having a class name. No name of class name. On click, on click, set count, count plus click. Yeah, click count. As you can see, whenever I click this button, this use effect work. But you can see over here, I try to print a count. Okay, see, it's printed as 0. That means this effect has run. Suppose I have written over here. Okay, if I click this count, does this count will be work or not? So when I click over here again, I can't means again I refresh this code. There is no, there is a 0 means we have defined this count. That means whenever this function and its execution, after that execution, this use effect function actually got called. Okay, now what if I use a const? If use I want to change this use effect as my state changes. Means whenever I change the state, I want that it's this function should run automatically. What I will do is it is a dependency box. If I don't write this dependency box, you will see it will be continuously will be in the listening state. Means whatever I will do, it will automatic done. Whatever I will do. Okay. Whenever it will re-render. But if I wanted only when the count it's been changed, we need to write in below because when count is been changed, then it will. Suppose there is one more. Let count to and set count to. Okay. And we have made the same function for the count to br. Okay, so let's see if I have set no dependency in every rendering this, even I click in there or either of here count okay set over here. Okay, count okay, so count here or here, you can see we are able to use, but I wanted only this use effect work when there is a dependency of count. That means whenever only when the count state will update, then only this function will be run. Let me click on the count. Let's see, 1 2 3 on pressing count. Let let me press the count to see, does not happening anything. Got the idea? How the use effect was? Use effect, this is called the mounting and an updating which we are doing in this count by adding a dependency. If we don't add the dependency, it will be only a mount, means whenever this page will be rendered, this this function, last function will run on. Hope so you understand. Now let's get some idea about the of unmounting. So, which is set interval single set count of 2 years of 2 years plus 1 interval. Okay, intervals. Yes. We now need to return. See, now this will work as a timer. Okay. Now what I mean to be said by the unmounting, that suppose if I comment this code, okay, now it's not this code is not working. Since set time interval uses a thread, which means it will send the asynchronous, means it will get set to the task. It will work like this: 871 suddenly will be increased as I make any changes. If I'm making counter changes, sudden increase or not. If I use the so what's happened that if I use the clean interval, it does what? Let me say, and it will work as a timer now. So what it does that whenever the unmounting, whenever this page render was completed, then this interval will clean those tasks threads. You can see. Okay, this is this function which is used by the useEffect return function is used as an unmounting. Means whenever which task is been in progress, you can close those progress in process in this effect. Hope so you got the idea about use effect. How does it work? We use this use effect by the way for fetching data and many more also. Whenever there is change in the state, we want to change the logic also. Okay, okay. So moving on completing the use effect, let's move on the about let's get about the use context. At this, we will create a context piece. Close this. It's take the suppose take the parent component const. Okay, here I use my context dot provider value dot for any value. Okay, and here I'm giving a child component, and let me build a child component and return const context value is equal to use create use context my context. I will paste the context value. Okay, okay. Uh, in app, okay. Now it's showing hello about. Hmm. So what is does that class? Suppose we are adding a border style of border 1 pixel solid red. Okay, this is the parent component, and here we created a div and we created flag. Let's give that a padding of 10 pixels. So padding of 10 pixels. Okay, so it's a parent component and the child component. What it does that uh, from use context, we use the value of the parent component to the child component. Suppose there is an another child component of this grandchild component. Let me create grandchild which having the same function. We're not using this. So user. Okay, so, hmm. So what I does that here is the parent component, child component, and the grandchild component. What does is that it does that whatever we store in the parent component like value, whatever the value, it will pass down the child component without passing the props over here, as you can see. Okay, so from this we pass the prop. From this we did not need to pass the props. We can use a direct use context, which use the use context create, and passing this value, we can have, suppose we saved the, let's see, context value, will be mining. So on passing this on this const. So here we are using this const as the parent, and we are displaying it at the grandchild component. Hope so you get the idea about this. Okay, next. Then next will be the user about. For user we use the const like input ref. Suppose we are using the input ref and user ref, which here what we are doing is that creating an input tag referring this to an input ref. Let me add this to the app function. Okay, I all get the idea. Now what I'm doing is that as you used in the JavaScript about the DOM manipulation like document.query selector and document.get element by id, useref does similar work. Like if I use a button and on click, let's have a click and find out the function const handle is equal to one arrow function of here. Now let me save this. What I'm trying to do is input ref dot current dot. See what it does that inputs, as we know the property of focus in the input tag, where is it? It's have the property in the DOM manipulation of input. By using those function, I am creating a useEff which currents hold the empty value for now. Suppose I want to know the value console.log input ref.current value input ref.current value. If I try to print this, try to click over here, see, what's the place the data here, or I have See, it's indicating the tag as I display the current. See, large value is coming. Writing the values. Over here, you can see that we use info and use these also by inputting the data also. It reduces the re-rendering also. So that's completing the useRef. Let's have a use memo. Memo dot GS6. Up, down, so let's talk about the use memo. Purpose this memo is used that it captured or it's memorized the data which is composed. For example, let me give you an example. Let const number it's set number. Suppose there is an use state. Okay, and one is the one for we are counting. Now what we will do is that we will calculation suppose of the number but find we will set this value constant storing the state. as name I will do X and which elected is equal to this uh, okay. So let's set this number. What I'm going to do is that number dot find turn to dot turn dot is selected is equal to true. The count copy paste. Let me copy the count. That's and count not important. So what does this do? What it does that? So whenever I click this one, no, there isn't some heavy calculations going on. Number five calculation. Alt X. See, there is okay. See, there is a huge performance going on. So it's required a large calculation. As you can see that it's a trade the number and finding again and again calculation. It does the large calculation and again whenever this render is done, the count number will again find this item and will store over there. So it should take quite a lot of time. See, I'm pressing it, but it's not. There's a huge performance loss. So tackling that, we use a huge memo, which does that after this is a dependency, as we all know, huge memo. What it does that it will reduce the okay, hello. It will reduce the number of times of this calculation as it it's selecting the number of truths so much. Whenever there is a large calculation, it's used that means whenever there is a large calculation in the in the functions, we use the use memo so that we do not need to recall this again until we need it to. Okay, it's slowing down. Okay, okay, we need to call back. We use the callback. So this is why we use the reactor. This shows that how much my performance has been decreased. You see, here it's lagging now. That's why we need to use memo at which we need to calculate memo. It's crashed. Okay, let me comment it out. That's why we use it to use memo. Now, now with the React memo, or React memo dot JS dot CF, uh, let's suppose there is one another there is another parent, a child component. Let's use which will be using the to div child, and we are going to call person. We are going to have child component console.log child and let add the same button method on click. in the parent component about to update the so let me write it down. Okay. Okay. So whenever there is a change in the state of the parent component, say the child component also get rendered. How this is how I get to know about like child is rendering on clicking the state, which is changing on the and the state is on the parent component. Okay, so for tackling that, we wrap this with the memo. Uh, as this is not a component, but we need to write in the expression cons memo. So as a capture basically this is coming from. So oh, that was the scheme. So what I'm getting this that I'm using a memo which is wrapped with function child component, and by this it's a child component of this about React memo. What I'm doing now, suppose let me refresh this page. Okay, now if I click this one, see there is no child rendering. As if I pass this count, see there is rendering being started. So why does this happen? It's because this this state is been rendered and it's used in here. That's the reason why. Okay. So if I use in the, you can see, and if there is no state being used, as I passing this, see, there is no rendering being occurred. See? And if I does not use the menu, the rendering will be occurred. So that's the reason we use the use menu. And last and the final, we will use about the we will get about callback function. Let's have the idea of callback function. Callback.jsx RCA. Let me add this. So from this onward, which is a huge callback, which is used to memorize the data. Like suppose I'm going to const child component. Okay, how to so it can do. Okay, for const and we'll click if we if the child component. Hmm, uh, and I'll click and I'll click method and button click. As you can see, if I click button in the child, it affecting the parent component. it's affecting its own component since the function is updating its state of its above. So what will you do that? We will use a callback method, and here we will use it count. What does this use call effect is used to prevent the unnecessary rendering which is occurred due to the this function. Let me have try. So this is use call selected. You can see now that there is nothing. You can see that in the child component there is no rendering has been occurred. If I click from this, so from the child component. If I click on the child component, there is no rendering occurred due to the callback. If suppose I wanted to be rendered whenever this this state will change, means which state will change, like count. So whenever I press a count, as this state is been as this state will be changing, it will automatically render all the pages. Okay, hope so you got the idea. So the last is only the use of custom hooks, which will be used. Let me show you. It's just a simple about actually for custom hook we need to use as keyword, not use. Let's suppose title dot dot jhooks. Okay, so if we are not going to return anything, we can return also. We can totally depends on us. Use effect. We are using a use effect, and as you know, and over here I'm just writing a document dot title. Document dot title is equal to title, which will be passed through this title. Okay, so this much is we are making custom hook on app. Suppose I am call this custom hook, suppose use title. So as I use the use title. Now if I see over here, it's written as Vite plus React. If I use app, wait a minute, okay, should I call? Mm, okay, this is this title. What's the name? Title is oh sorry. Okay. Title. See, here we have got the update on the app. Suppose we want to run, and we can use this on every part of any part. Suppose we want to use memo. Let me have in user. Uh, sure. Okay. Let me say the way. So I need to call this. Okay. So user, this sheet, the title has been changed. This is how we can make some custom hooks also. So from this, our React hooks has been completed. And and what we got is that last is the life cycle, which I have told you about this, that mounting, which is used to point render about the whole function. Then updating any of the state, reduce or context, or either a new props will lead to an update. And for page, if there is other hook like unmounting, like whenever the function is being shut down or closed, there will be cleanup function will run, which clean up the effects. So that is all by my side. Okay. Do you have any questions? So benefits of using Vite is that it's a very fast compared to the React. It takes so much of time. You can suppose means in creating a React where we have a web bundle, which is a lot. So it takes a lot of time to get downloaded the files to our local system. But Vite does what it does that it's created the own template and we just need to install the node module. That's all. The power of Vite is that it is easy to use as well as it's created a template which takes less time as file has been installed to our system. Whereas in using React, we need to create a web bundle and by the end of that we have the file. We got the uh, what does the iOS sorry iOS string. So basically iOS stands wait a minute. Okay, so basically it stands for the time where the time is written in hour, minute, and let me write a code over here to close this all. Hmm. On state equal to new date. So it's a format of ISO standard ISO string. So what it does that it will display the time like now it's 15:47 and 80 time. Got that ISS time. And whereas UTC, it will display on full string time, like Friday 12 April 20. And it will stay as a T is a separator between the time zone. So by the way, we are the lack of sorting of time. Uh, Actually, I wanted to create one more of project, but I don't think so. We have got a sufficient time to complete. We will see tomorrow. Let's see what we can do.
Okay, guys, do you have any other questions? We have already exceeded the time limit. Okay, I don't see any questions for now. Okay, so I think we should wind up because we are already late. So, thank you so much, Krishna, for taking us on the adventure of front end development with HTML, CSS, React JS, and JavaScript. We had a great time having you as our instructor. So, you guys might think how it ended up so fast. Let me remind you, I had mentioned that it will not be a long journey but an express, and we will be trying to kickstart your full stack journey. However, in tomorrow's session, we will be welcoming a new guest, Mr. Alok Kumar, who is software engineer at Utkal Labs, and he will be taking us through the backend development with Node.js, Express.js, and MongoDB in day 3 and day 4. So, if you guys don't have any other questions, we should wind up here. We had a great time having you guys on board. Let's meet tomorrow at sharp 6:30.